better.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Hey everybody, Don Cramer with the Cramer Group at Urban Nest Realty, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Cramer. I'm standing here in person, live, with great friend and Las Vegas attorney Lane Kay of the Law Offices of Lane Kay. Lane, welcome today.
Well, thank you, Don.
Appreciate you coming over.
I appreciate the invitation.
Yeah, this is awesome. So we're going to talk to Lane a little bit about some legalese stuff that kind of come up in contracts, because as you know, in real estate, we get those contract things now and again. And also, just sort of about, Lane's a personal injury attorney, so we're going to talk a little bit about personal injury situations, a lot of this stuff, traffic, some of the stuff in the news, and kind of get Lane's take on things. But to give you a little 411 about Mr. Lane Kay, he's been practicing law for almost 40 years now. 27 years in Las Vegas with a focus on personal injury. His wife Sue, actually in the small world department, happens to be a realtor here at our humble little office of Urban Nest Realty. And they have two boys, Ryan and Sean, and it looks like they're in their parents' footsteps, with Ryan as a commercial real estate agent in Tempe, Arizona, and Sean just passed the California exam. Congratulations.
Thank you. Big accomplishment for him.
Some big accomplishments, yeah. and parents guided their kids right along a good path.
It's it warms the heart to know that we've got another soon-to-be lawyer in the family.
There you go. always important to have one of those. Yes. I'm a big fan. So the hobbies of Lane, and they're kind of similar to mine. Golf, we chatted about that, in fact, before we started up here today. Boating, yes, I do like boats and things like that. Traveling as well. Also, Lane is really excited. Has been really excited the last couple of years since I've known him, because this is now home to his favorite team, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yes, I grew up with the Raiders in the mid '60s, and then went to LA, law school, practiced there for about 11 years. Raiders were there, and now they're
awesome.
They're in the best place they could be, is Las Vegas.
So, because of that too, in sports, my big question for you is, are we going to be seeing a Las Vegas Athletics?
I think the answer is yes.
Okay.
Because I was an A's fan as well growing up in the Bay Area.
Perfect. And that'll just finish it all off.
Right.
Excellent. So, Lane, thanks for being here, part of the show. We appreciate everyone tuning in. If you view this video on YouTube, which we're live today, it'll be up for later viewing. Feel free to comment, like below. If you have any questions, you can also reach out to Lane. Lane's website's in the description section of the videos. And also, too, if you're tuning in and like what you're seeing, hit the subscribe button to be up for the latest videos here that we put out with the Cramer Group at Urban Nest Realty. Also, shout out to my partner, Colleen, while we're doing this wonderful thing. Cheers to you. She's at the other desk there, working away, getting a couple of deals closed. Hey, Colleen, thanks for tuning in. We have one fan starting today. So, Lane, I've just got a couple of questions here for you. And this one, we go about these a lot because, as you know, in real estate, we're dealing with contracts, things of that nature. You deal with those in law, in contracts, or things you put up. There's the big three things: arbitration, mediation, and litigation, if something goes wrong.
Okay.
So, kind of give the people out there a little, at ease of what each of those mean and maybe why they're there.
Sure. We'll start with the last one. You mentioned litigation.
Yes.
So if the parties can't get something resolved, then it goes through litigation. It's the filing of a lawsuit, answering the lawsuit, discovery, the trial. That's litigation.
That's the big money. That's drawing it out.
Right. And most of the time it's the attorneys that win. It's the litigants that don't necessarily win. They may win, but they're going to be paying attorney's fees and whatnot.
Yeah.
So in order to avoid litigation, you've got arbitration, and you've got mediation.
Yes.
So mediation, again, if the parties both agree that it's something that can be resolved, they'll go through mediation. It could be a private mediation that they're involved in, and that's probably the most cost-effective means of resolving a dispute is mediation. Okay. The arbitration is like a trial, but instead of a jury or a judge, you have a arbitrator.
Okay.
So I have been appointed by the district court here for over 15 years as a court-appointed arbitrator in disputes that are litigated that have a value under $50,000.
Got it.
So those are the three different areas that you had mentioned.
Okay.
But yeah, try to avoid the litigation. Mediation, arbitration are the ways to go. You can have private arbitration as well.
Gotcha. And one of the things that's sort of unique, I mean, this is, you know, you're in the personal injury law space, and we understand that there's some of these firms that work towards, you know, negotiations and settlements, things of that nature. But in some cases that may require, they may not go to litigation, but you're as a personal injury attorney, if it looks like it's the best fit for the case at hand,
Sure.
you will also be involved.
Right. Again, in my practice, I'm dealing with insurance companies all the time.
Yeah.
And sometimes the insurance company doesn't want to pay.
Right.
So my only choice is to file a lawsuit and proceed down whatever path, whether it's a jury trial, judge trial, or an arbitration.
Okay. Great. Well, that's good to know. And that's, you know, unfortunately, it looks like we have maybe a couple of cases coming up, and that leaves us the next couple of questions. You know, as you see, we've had some traffic accidents here late involving some high-profile people. Unfortunately, recently, you know, Kenny Lee, who's very popular here, had that accident north of here.
Yeah.
And that looks, you know, I don't know how far that's going to go.
Yeah, in fact, I saw Kenny Lee a couple weeks ago at the Asian Chamber of Commerce golf tournament that they have at Bears Best.
Okay.
So really sad. One of the attorneys in my office, Ken Liu, actually the bankruptcy attorney, and he actually put that whole tournament on. So we've had some discussions about what happened, and just horrible. You know, now that accident happened in northern Nevada.
Yes.
But you know, one of the things for people that are maybe just moving here, Las Vegas, and this is why I've kept so busy the last 27 years I've been in Las Vegas, is that we've got people moving here from all walks of life, all over the country, different driving styles, and you get sticker shock when you move here and you get your first auto insurance premium.
Oh, yes.
So you do have to be careful here. It's still a 24-hour town. You still go to the casinos that are open all hours of the night. Drinking, driving, that's a huge issue here. You know, one of the big cases is the Henry Ruggs,
Yes.
the former Las Vegas Raider football player that spent some time at one of the golf places and left in the wee hours of the morning, traveling at excessive speeds while intoxicated, and you know, killed a young lady and the young lady's dog. But you've got that. I think we're still the cell phone capital of the world. So even though it's unlawful to operate a vehicle while using that little nasty...
Is this hands-free?
No, that's not hands-free.
Some people think I'm hands-free.
So we got that. We've got nonstop construction in this town. This town is booming. You've got all sorts of construction zones, and you don't know which way is which. When it rains here, which rarely it rains here, but people are not used to driving in the rain here because it doesn't rain that often.
Mm-hmm.
So that oil builds up and rains, and people are slip sliding all over the place. So it is, in my profession, a great place to be, but you just have to be careful out here.
Yeah, and I mean, you've just spoken about so many different factors between people from all over, the you know, for better or worse, the accessibility to you know, alcohol, partying, you know, all these types of things, construction, such. Is outside of, hey, follow the speed limit and the signs, is there anything or any programs, or is there anything out there that's kind of happening maybe in another major city or anything that could sort of say, okay, let's kind of turn that back around?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I mean, it's obviously if you've got a good police presence, but I don't even think that helps. You know, people just have to slow down, smell the roses, enjoy our fine town.
Yep.
You know, again, you're talking about all of the sports teams that are coming here and the congestion that we have. It's now I came here from LA 27 years ago. So
Yeah.
I never complain about the traffic.
No, I don't.
But people who maybe have been here for a while, they complain about the traffic. I would just say, slow down. Don't be in a rush.
Exactly.
Obviously, don't drink and drive, or we've got marijuana's legalized now, and now I haven't seen an uptick in accidents.
Well, I was curious about that.
Yeah.
So
No, I haven't seen an uptick in at least the cases that I've handled where they've been busted for under the influence of marijuana. I haven't seen it. I think alcohol is still a biggie here
Okay.
in Las Vegas.
The big driver.
Yeah.
The big, yeah. I think that's what it seems like. And you talk about the Ruggs case too. I mean, there was just a bad cocktail of situations here. But one of the parts of the equation too is the car that he was driving, and this kind of leads to the next thing is, one of those fun things to do in Vegas over the years was, okay, if you had some money to spend, let's go rent an exotic car. And there's some little areas, whether it's out towards Red Rock or Lake Mead Valley of Fire, or just the Vegas streets. Some people like to spend some money and light it up. I mean, that seems to be a problem.
And I think I recently heard or read a story about the exotic rentals limiting those now.
Okay.
Again, speed, and they say speed kills.
Yeah.
So, 165 miles, I think Henry Ruggs, at least what was reported, 165 miles an hour it was either a 35 or 45 mile an hour zone is unreasonable.
No, that's
And, could you go 165 in most cars? No.
right.
But exotic cars that are street legal, you can probably get up to those speeds, but you certainly don't want to do that, whether it's 3:30 in the morning or 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah. And they're fun cars, they're exciting, but it is just a whole nother caliber of vehicle that people aren't used to. And now you couple it with all these other temptations or issues.
Well, probably at 3:30 in the morning, you don't expect that there's going to be traffic here, but it is
No.
Las Vegas.
It is 24-hour town.
24-hour town. We've got people who are employed on the Strip, and they get off in the wee hours of the morning. So, you would think that you can go in excess of the speed limit if it's in the wee hours of the morning, but Las Vegas is a different town.
It is. And so one of the things too, because you've been here for a while, I've been here for a while, Colleen's as well, is I remember I moved here in 1988, and it was coming from Hawaii, where we build our roads based on we got to work our way around volcanoes and beaches and things of that nature. I get to Vegas, everything's like this: north, south, east, west, very grid-like, topology, things of that nature. I get it. Then along comes Summerlin.
Yes, that's
And
where
we
I live.
decide, no, that's where you live, that's where I live. And we decide to put in some roundabouts. And for the years, we would hear these things, and it's always funny. You'd see a roundabout with a Toyota somewhere on the top of it. But roundabouts in Europe, or back, commonplace.
Right.
And they say it's better for traffic. What say you there?
Personally,
Legal Sage?
I love roundabouts because I know how to drive.
Right.
But there are people that don't know how to drive roundabouts here. I spent some time in Europe driving a car. Did I find it a little difficult? Yes. But here I love it because the traffic flows. But do I see numerous accidents? Numerous accidents.
Yes.
In fact, I just saw one involving a school bus that was rear-ended by another car. And this was, early morning, and it was in a roundabout.
Oh boy.
So I personally love them, but we have some people here in Las Vegas that just don't know how to drive a roundabout.
Got it.
Go figure.
And it looks like as Summerlin continues to grow, I'm sure they're going to sprinkle a couple more in.
I would imagine they would.
And curved roads.
Yeah.
All definitely for the aesthetic beauty
Yeah.
and functionality, but it's always been one of those funny things I scratch my head about. It's not that hard to figure out.
No, you wouldn't think it'd be that hard, but it is.
But it's almost like deer in the headlights when they're coming up to it. And so one other thing, and we chatted a little bit about was, you got all this technology in cars. You have these sensors and all these things. In fact, my current car has, keep you in your lane, keep you in the right lane, as you like to say. Right. There's this trend line to, the cars are going to get smarter. They'll be able to drive themselves. It's a function of time.
Right.
How does that, are we in a period, though, a little Wild West, where this may introduce some other cocktail of issues?
Well, the issue that I would see is the reliance on the car as opposed to your own driving skills.
Right.
That happened in, I've got one of my sons that lives in Arizona, and one of those test cases occurred there, happened at night. I believe it was a bicyclist that ended up getting killed, and just came out of nowhere. Obviously, the sensors in the autonomous car didn't trigger, and someone was killed. So I think that that's the problem, is that the reliance on the car. Like, I've got a buddy, I'm not going to name my buddy's name. I'm not going to give his name, but a golf buddy of mine. And he just bought an autonomous car, and he loves it because he's a little bit older, and his driving skills are not what they once were. So to get around Summerlin, he thinks it's great. And it probably is for him. But I think, from my perspective as a personal injury attorney, I think you still have to be vigilant.
Right.
When you're driving the car, a perfect example is I have seen people on the freeways where they're just fast asleep. The car's going 65, 70 miles an hour, fast asleep, and So you can't rely on the autonomous nature of these vehicles. You still have to drive a car.
Yes.
But as far as all the safety features, obviously I think, again, you're looking at the safety features as opposed to the good old-fashioned, I'm going to turn over my right shoulder, my left shoulder, checking for traffic. I'm old school. Right. So I still rely upon my skills, but as those skills deteriorate, it may be nice to have one of those autonomous cars.
Exactly.
Yes.
So actually, and this kind of segues into a side question. These cars are getting smarter. The question is it's all code. And code does have errors. Things break. We saw that with Boeing in their airplane, the MAX, they called it.
Yes.
It was sending false data, resulting in a car crash or airplane crash. Has there been anything like that where the driver tries to take back over, and it still results in a crash because he's fighting the car?
Have I heard anything?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But obviously, when there's an accident, if there's severe disabling injuries or a death, attorneys in my field are going to take a shotgun approach, and they're going to look at everyone. Manufacturers, distributors, the drivers, of course. So is there probably litigation out there? I would imagine so.
And with that litigation, you will probably be seeing documentation as people buy these cars or lease these cars with these types of features.
Well, I know that with the autonomous cars that they've got issues with the batteries. The batteries blow up, they catch on fire, the cars catch on fire, and people are burned to death.
Right.
So, but you could have that, what was the Corvair?
The Corvair, the Pinto?
The Corvair, the Pinto.
You looked at a Pinto, it blew up.
Right. So it's, you just, like I say, you have to be careful.
Yep.
But there's always going to be those issues with cars, and that's the bulk of what I do. Or I'm involved in car crashes and car wrecks. And
gotcha.
Back here, just a question.
So we have a question from the outfield, ladies and gentlemen.
Peanut gallery. Do you feel the liability on that is going to rest majorly on the person that is relying on technology, Or do you, because ultimately we're responsible for the car, correct? Or
Correct.
do you think that's going to be pushed off to,
No, and that's why we have auto insurance. It's always going to go. They're always going to look to the driver. You know, what did the driver do to contribute or cause the accident? But if in order to operate a motor vehicle in the state of Nevada, you have to have minimum liability limits, which are they've been raised in the last 5 years, but it's still on the low end. So if someone is severely injured, is that minimum insurance in the state of Nevada going to cover those injuries? Probably not.
Got it.
So you're going to look to other potential parties to go after.
And depends on, I guess, too, like any situation with a manufacturer, if it looks like it's more than a singular case, they're going to dig into those.
Correct.
In the history.
That's
of
why we have all these recalls, because of issues that have occurred in a large segment of the community that have bought these vehicles.
Right.
So you've got the mass litigation involving with all the recalls.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Gotcha. So Lane, one of the other things too is Lane and I belong to a business networking group, and we interact a lot for not just just getting to learn businesses or things of that nature, but also too is if we let's say I know somebody that might have been in an accident. I've got a great injury attorney I can refer to. What is what's a good trigger for that? Or people like, okay, if they're involved in an auto accident, what's the first few things they should be thinking about?
Well, the first thing obviously is take care of themselves.
Right.
So if they've been injured, they need to go to a quick care, a hospital, get transported. That's obviously the biggest concern. But I will tell you, from my experience, it's always the car. Oh, the car's been damaged. What do I do about the car?
Right. Yeah.
So calling the local authorities, whether it's NHP or Metro or Henderson Police Departments, North Las Vegas Police Departments, that, if you are not in the wrong, you feel that the other party is in the wrong, contacting local authorities, make sure they make a report of the accident. Sometimes a little fender bender, you can exchange information. You can give a report to the local authorities,
Sure.
over-the-counter report, which I don't even, if they're doing that now with COVID, you might have to go online and actually prepare a report.
Okay.
But making sure that you contact the local authorities, get the report. If you're injured, make sure and take care of those injuries. And all attorneys will offer a free consultation.
Okay.
Now, I don't advertise. This is about the most amount of advertising I've done is appearing on this podcast. But, getting with an attorney to see if there's a claim and making sure that they protect their rights.
Okay.
Those are the major things.
And is there a balancing act there between when to call you or not, or sort of?
No, not really. I mean, there are times where I get a call, they explain the situation, and I let them know, well, I don't think that you need an attorney. If you need help, you've got some questions, just give me a holler. But I will always offer the free advice.
Got it.
Especially, any friend of yours is a friend of mine, Don.
Exactly. Absolutely, exactly. Buddies for life there.
Absolutely.
There you go. Well, Lane, this has been great. Is there anything else you wanted to, kind of cover or anything or bring up or shout out to?
No, I just appreciate the invitation by yourself and Colleen to come and chat.
Oh, absolutely. This has been wonderful. This has been great. And then, like you said, always catch up with Lane every Friday. We talk a little shop there as well. But Lane, I appreciate you coming in here today because, as people like moving into Las Vegas or thinking about Las Vegas, it's about getting to know the community. And as a good friend of mine likes to say, this humble little burg we live in, getting to know people and professionals like Lane and others. And so
I've always said when I moved here, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Absolutely.
And it's even though we've got a couple of million people that live in Las Vegas, it's still a small community.
Absolutely.
Especially
no
in the
question.
networking circles.
Oh, for sure. It's it's I think the Kevin Bacon rule, 6 degrees of separation.
Mhm.
I think Las Vegas is about 1 degree of separation.
I would concur.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Lane, thank you for being on today's
Absolutely.
show.
Thank
We
you, Don.
greatly appreciate it. And again, if you have any questions for Lane, put it in the comment section below. You also can reach out to Lane's website, lanek.com.
Yep.
Happy to help answer any questions you've got regarding, if it's personal injury, or maybe you do have a legal matter that, even Lane being in the town for a long time, maybe even to refer out to, depending on what that case may be about. So on behalf of my partner, Colleen Schaefer, thanks, Colleen. Appreciate the question there. I'm Don Cramer with the Cramer Group at Urban Nest Realty. Well, we appreciate you tuning in. We got some other great interviews coming up and some great news for you that you can use about living in Las Vegas on lifestyle, real estate, and the community. Till next time, take care. Bye-bye.